All right, what's up, everybody? I'm just gonna make a quick little follow-up video to the video I made yesterday. Um, that kind of explained my system and my strategy or method or whatever you want to call it. And I had quite a few DMs about people that were asking if I could go into more detail about like how I identify my zones, and that I didn't clarify it well enough in that video. So I figured I'd make this hopefully brief video that dives a little bit into that. I'm going to do it like quote unquote live so that you can kind of see it as it happens, as opposed to looking at the completed chart for the day, which, obviously is a lot easier to identify, pullback zones and stuff like that when you're looking at the finished product. And it's also a really good opportunity to showcase on demand. I don't know if new traders or many people period know about on demand. I use it a lot. I love it. It's a great way to practice and backtest strategies. You can do it after hours. You can do it pre-market. You can do it on weekends. You can do it whenever. Basically, on demand, you'll click it and you'll choose a day and time of like the past so many years where you can trade the markets as if it were live. And that's a really, it's basically paper trading, but you can do it at any point. Now, it is only available on Thinkorswim's regular account. So you would not log into paper trading. You would log into as if you were going to trade on a live account. And you'll find on demand up here. You'll click it and you'll have it, a day and a time, and you can choose whatever day and time. So we're going to choose a day that I didn't trade small caps. I've only been back in small caps about a month. So we'll choose something a little older than that. And we'll develop a little watch list, and we'll trade, we'll kind of fast forward it or whatever, but we'll trade it live, and you guys can kind of see what I'm looking for when I'm making my zones and stuff like that. What I look for in tickers to begin with, how I, weed out my watch list and whatnot. So the first thing I'm going to do on demand is actually the same thing I do every morning. I will open up Precision Day Trading here, which is a YouTube channel. And you can actually do this with just any YouTube channel that develops a watch list, Warrior Trading or whatever. I use Precision Day Trading. Basically, it's a trade idea small cap stream, and every day they stream live. So I'll wake up and I'll open up this. It's like 30 seconds delayed or something, or a minute. I don't know. But that's okay because I just use it as a watch list. I don't use it as a method to call out plays. So this is yesterday. I woke up. I looked and I saw that MTSL, METX, EFOI were all significant volume. Over 1 million is generally my cutoff. And so I jotted them down on my watch list. Then I minimized it, look at those charts. As it gets closer to open, I open up this screen again to see if anything new has been added. Anything that was already on there has significantly picked up in volume. Kind of see what some of these other momentum scanners and stuff like that are telling me, and then I go back to looking at charts. But one really, really awesome tool with these kinds of live stream YouTubes is you can actually just go back and pick any day that they've streamed in the past, and develop a watch list then. So let's say this was 4 months ago. This was on December 15th, 2020. We'll go ahead and skip to about 7:30 or 8:30 or whatever. 6:30. It's about 7:30. Dang, that's a lot of volume for that early in the day. I guess the market really is worse than I thought right now. Where we only have like 1 or 2 stocks in the morning to add to the list. So here we'll see these. Now I usually don't play anything that's sub $1. Not a big fan of that kind of stuff. That's just my personal preference. So I will look at this watch list on December 15th, 2020. I'll come up here. I'll go to December 2020. Choose the 15th. We'll choose probably... Well, we'll do the watch list first. So the first thing is going to be... Oh, here, we can do it. Yeah. ANCN. So ANCN we'll add to the watch list. PRVL we'll add to the watch list. OCX, BTWN, OCX, BTWN. AVXL, MCEP, AVXL, MCEP. That's all right. We'll keep it with those 6 for now. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 6. And now I'll go back to that day. So December, what did I say, 15th and let's call it 8:40, 8:50. That way because again, I don't trade usually the first 10 minutes or so at the open. I like patterns to form. I like to see which stocks are going to trend up for the day, trend down for the day, what I can remove from my watch list, what I need to keep an eye on, things like that. So I have no problem not trading the open. Doesn't bother me at all. Okay, so this is actually 10:40. So sometimes it does this, which is why I wanted to make sure that I developed the watch list first. Let's try it again. 8:50. On demand does this sometimes. It's weird. Let's see if it works. Okay, 8:50. Cool. So now I didn't want to spoil it. I didn't want to, cheat. So now that it's loaded up here, it's no longer buffering. We'll go ahead and look at some of these tickers. So ANCN. Okay, so that's what we're looking at here. I would probably personally not play this right off the bat. I would just wait. I mean, it's obviously trending upwards, but it's currently in a downtrend. And we'll just look for the next one. PRVL. It's one of those. Let's go to OCX. Trending down, trending down. BTWN. It's not bad, but give it a little bit more time. AVXL. Trended down. MCEP. Trended down. Let's try PRVL again. One of these must have been a reverse split or something. Let's skip a little bit further ahead in the volume list and see if anything new appears that's decent. Generally, once the bell comes, obviously volume changes substantially. So I'm waiting for I'm skipping ahead of that in the YouTube video here. Okay. Maybe this is just a shit day. But again, like I mentioned in a previous video, my strategy is very, very picky about what it takes. So, until I saw something better in the next however long, I wouldn't take any of these tickers that I just looked at. So we're actually going to go to a different day really quick, just because I don't, sit here and wait. The video would be quite long. This is December 1st. December 1st. Let's get, okay, December 1st, we'll keep the same time. We'll redo our watch list here. And we'll do TTNP, BB, BRX, ears. Wow, a lot of volume there. CRBP, SNDL, S, and Hexo. Right, wow, quite a list. So we are now, you see it's pre-buffering here. So let's go to, again, I don't trade anything that's sub $1. SNDL, goodbye. We'll take a look at TTNP first. That looks pretty shit. So we'll move on to BB. Okay, this is a bit better of a chart here. So we're trending up, big picture. Big picture, we're trending up. We got the high of the run here at 884. You know, some key levels of areas to watch. Obviously, I will use the 5 and the 10 to give me different types of information here. But ultimately a big pullback, so I don't want to immediately play it, but it's something I'll keep an eye on. So instead, let's go to Hexo. Oh, let's go to ears. Okay, this is kind of good, especially if this makes a new, if this beats this 155 area. We'll play that. CRBP, let's go take a look at that. CRBP, yeah, no. So ears we'll go back to, and BB we'll go back to. Cool. So let's watch BB here. Now, in order for this move to continue trending upwards, I would like to identify, you know, this would be my bottom dollar, where I would hope that price bounces there. Now, no position. I'm not creating a zone here. I just want to make sure that, like, if that area is breached, then I don't believe the large scale trend stays intact. So because it's on demand, we can actually skip forward 10 minutes and see. I would take no position otherwise. Okay, perfect. So now what we're looking for is for the stock to continue upwards, hopefully take out these levels here. And if it does, then we can actually, let's just skip very briefly ahead. If it does, then we can actually, you know, decide a zone based on the VWAP and the 20 here. Okay. So this is trending up. Zone right here would be VWAP 812 down to 7. 7 is obviously a pretty contentious point right here. So if it can pop above 7, I would then look for it to hold a zone within key level here, 808, maybe 806 based off this candle. You could even come over here to this candle and 812, you know, these are obviously a strong area. 812 down here to 8 because it's the whole dollar. So yeah, that's where we'll at least address a zone. VWAP down to the whole dollar. That's pretty cool. Pretty safe spot. Now, because we're coming up from the underside, obviously there's no position. I want confirmation of trend going forward. So I want it to pop up here above the 20, above the VWAP. I want it to rest within this range after it's claimed VWAP. So let's skip ahead a few more minutes. And let's see. So rejected here, right? If you were playing a move short, which I do this at large caps quite often, if I create a zone that it's going to tap from the underside, you know, I'll treat it the opposite of a long. Generally, I want longs to come down and touch it from the top, and I want shorts to come down and touch it from the bottom. So if this was like Tesla or something that I short every day, I would, you know, I would love to see this move here. This would be a classic VWAP touch for a short. Let's go look at what the other tickers have done now that we've fast forwarded a little bit there. Okay, so ears. This was that level that I wanted to see get taken. As you can see on the 2-minute chart here, you know, we're setting new highs, setting higher lows. We're setting higher highs, all that good stuff. So let's assume that this momentum is moving a lot. There's a huge pop in volume. It's about 11. Oh, it's about lunchtime. that's not great, but let's let this move figure itself out. Let's assume that 1.8 is a point of resistance. I would like to see it bounce off 1.8 because it's a little overextended. Green, 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 green. Small rest. Green, green, green. If it pops over that, then I want to see it come back down to 1.7. And we'll do 1.7 down to 1.6 because that will allow us to have VWAP as support here. This, as you can see over here, encapsulates the wick of this candle as the base. 1.7 as a key level here that was obviously respected. and broke through. So this is a good range, I think. I'm not chasing the move. I'm not buying up here. I'm going to see if it comes back down to me. And if it does within that range, then I feel pretty good about the strength moving forward. Because big picture, we're obviously trending upwards. And this is kind of a flag pattern at this point. See. Oof. So yeah, we're going to identify this zone here. And it looks like so far it's come in. We would say that we put descending bids, so we've been tapped in to a position about 2 or 3 bids at least. We would have our stop loss probably down here at the $0.50, maybe even a few cents below, just in case $0.50 ends up being treated as a support. So let's call it 145. That's a 15-cent risk from the bottom, meaning that we could take about 700 shares if we were risking $100. And our profit target is again going to be that 1.8 to be reclaimed. But primarily, we're not going to start scaling out or deciding to add or whatever until we get to the high of the run, new high a day. And because of this action here, that's a pretty confident move. We want to see this flag. We want to see it rest on bottom of the zone, the VWAP, all of this action here, and we want to see it continue upwards. So we would add within this range, give ourselves plenty of time based on the length of all these candles that are spending time here. And the 10-minute, this looks beautiful. This is a beautiful setup for a flag. Hopefully, it pops and we get a decent gains. So let's skip ahead a couple of minutes and let's see what the price action does. Okay. So it's resting now up on that flag. The 10-minute chart's still telling us flag. Now, if you weren't looking at the 10-minute chart, you'd have no idea that this pattern is forming. If you were just looking at this, you would, you'd maybe be a little worried about some of the chop, some of the resistance at 1.8. It's important to have all of these different time frames up because they give me corroboration that only, each one provides uniquely. Now we want to see this. If this comes down here to make support at this top of our zone, 17117, then I feel really good about the move going up. Volume's obviously increasing on the buy side. Skip ahead a couple more minutes. And there you go. We've taken the high a day. 2 being right close, we could either scale or add with the anticipation of hitting 2. Now our first profit target, if I were to add, I want to see this area be respected. So it's already a 20-cent move with a 10 to 15-cent risk depending on where you put the stop loss here. No, it might come down, which is actually a totally fine sign. We'd like to, if it does come down to 1.9, make some rest there before continuing a run upwards, because if that happens, then it takes this little rest. We know that it's more likely to continue once it pops over 2. Because right now, since it is not rested since down here, there's a good chance that it will meet resistance, meet some profit taking, some sell-off. People who are breakout traders expecting this breakout and then immediately selling into it, could bring it back down back to this 2 level or so. So I probably would have scaled out at least half my position here. And then based on the 2, I would have scaled out the rest of it up here. Now, if it came back down to this and rested a little bit, I probably would have actually doubled my position and added to my winners. I really, especially in scalping, I'm a big fan of adding to winners. Now, this market that we're currently dealing with today, in April 2021, is a little less add to your winners type of market, simply because I don't, there's a little bit more risk involved, a little less continuity. But here you go, huge move. And I know you're thinking, wow, you've scaled out, man, that sucks. You missed, this. But that's kind of the thing. With scalping, I take profit targets. I take specific areas. Now, sometimes I build my zones off of the bottoms of wicks on the 5 and the tops of wicks on the 10. So as you can see here, this 1-7 zone that I identified was a key level on the 10-minute chart. And then this bottom level is a key level on the 5-minute chart. Now, if you were looking at the 10-minute chart, you wouldn't have any idea that this was as key level as it was. Because the 5-minute chart shows that this wick met right here before it was resisted. And that candle make this candle in the 10. So it would be encapsulated in there. You wouldn't know. So again, these different time frames give me different pieces of information. Now, if I wanted to get back into this, after a high of the day, generally the first pop, especially if it's a run to high a day, is going to be the strongest. But as a scalper, I'm not afraid to, just make a 10, 20 cent play as it attempts to high a day again and fails or what have you. So I would be watching now my previous profit targets, which can then become my zones. The great flag pattern on the 10 paid dividends. It shot up just the way that that pattern would lead you to believe it would, which is solid. So now we're going to make our key levels at the 2. And first we're going to see how it reacts to the 2. We'll call it the 2 down to the 1-9. So it's a 10-cent zone. Move our stop loss to, probably down here below VWAP. By the time that price gets there, it'll be about there at VWAP. So we want to see price come down to the 2 and rest on top of the 2. So if you prefer to do 205 down to 195, that's also good. Sometimes, though, that price action will wick really hard on the 2, and it'll go to like 194 or whatever, and then it'll pop right back up and close above 2. So it's important that you give yourself a little wiggle room, which is why I did 2 down to 1.9. Maybe I'd adjust my bids to where they were a little higher up. So we would like to see, price stay within this range, not close below it. Obviously, this is the candle right here. So wick, body, both 2 key levels I've made. Wick, body, both 2 key levels I've made. And we'd like to see price come consolidate in this area, which would give me personally the sign that, okay, price coming down here, that would look like a pretty good wave trend bounce. And it would give me strength. Boom, look at that. Came right down to that 205 level, and it pushed not for high of day. Just like I said, oftentimes the second try is not successful, but I would have taken profit right up there, right at the 2-3, right at the, know that you don't want to get caught up in the middle of that, push and pull back and forth to see, can we take high a day? Just take your profit. That's a 20, 25 cent move at that point. So we're going to watch again. Sometimes the same zone can be utilized multiple times. Let's see if it comes through here. Oh, wow. Look at that. What a run. So that's 2 zones we've identified on this one ticker. And, potentially, depending on my size, I might be done for the day on this one runner. So hopefully that helps. I know there's so many different variables that come into play when it comes to creating zones. I like to have my zone be where I expect the lagging indicators to end up. So my zone was initially created on where VWAP ended up, so that VWAP and the 20 were helping support the inside of my zone. But primarily I use intraday wicks and bodies of 5 and 10-minute candles because those are key price levels. And I use them as stop losses, profit targets, zone identifiers, things like that. Now, if there's a huge level on the daily that says, once $2 is, a insanely respected level for this stock, then you can use dailies for zone identifications as well. The issue with using dailies and not using intraday price action is that, especially with small caps, like let's say that there's 5 big daily resistance on a $10 stock. Well, one could be at $1.20, one could be at 8, one could be at 13, and one could be at 26 or something, right? So sometimes the huge key levels on dailies, especially for these penny stocks with low floats, they can be crazy. They can be all over the place. So using intraday price action gives me a lot more opportunities during the day to potentially identify moves. So hopefully this helped. Again, we're lucky that the stocks we looked at were decent. But again, I can't stress this enough that the stocks that are less likely to work, I don't even bother looking at. So we picked out of these 6, 2 stocks that I would keep an eye on, and one of them worked really well. And you just play that stock until you don't like what it shows you anymore, until the trend starts to jeopardize big picture, until the trend starts to trend the other way. And if you're interested in shorting, you could potentially do it that way as well. But I generally, my rule of thumb for small caps is if we're trading above the 200, I don't take it short. And if we're trading below the 200, I don't take it long. So again, I'm very picky. I want stocks to look like they are trending up with solid strength, solid volume. This is a really, picture perfect example. And you can go and use on demand and Thinkorswim, use some YouTube video watch lists from some dates, and play around with yourself. Risk nothing, just kind of see what works, develop your own ideas. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to message me. Hopefully this provides a little bit more clarification than I was unable to provide yesterday. So without further ado, you guys have a great rest of your weekend.